Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Chantele. And we're here to rate these players of Survivor Season 34.
But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And everyone, thank you so much for being flexible with us. We are on a different day. I'm in a different place, but here we are. We're going to make it happen. And I'm so excited. You guys, we have Big Brother Canada Season 10 winner, Mr. Kevin Jacobs is here tonight.
Hi,
Hello.
Sarah, Chantele. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
The next 30 seconds of this intro are dedicated to the province of Ontario.
Yes.
And then as we go, I'll shout out every other thing that I've encountered in my life.
Each minute, a new. Is it only going to be areas of Canada, though?
No, it's going to be people I've met, internet friends, IRL friends. It's going to be just professions. I'm just going to call out professions. It's going to be music, actors, media that I like. And we're just going to keep doing it the whole time.
Yes. Wow. Yes. Love to hear it. I'm excited.
Yes. Throw in some dogs or just any pets that you might be interested in.
Animals.
Yeah. Well, as usual, we are going to rate Survivor gameplay for each individual. We do dice here at Nerdtainment because we're nerds. So 1 is the lowest you can get. 5 is the highest you can get. So get excited. Everyone's excited that Kevin's here.
Kevin. Wait, so Kevin, how have you been liking this season so far? Like, what are your thoughts? What are the new era? What is your history with Survivor? We know you from Big Brother, and we know you as a Canadian. So, yeah, have you been a fan for a long time?
I was a Survivor fan before I was a Big Brother fan. I actually got into Big Brother from reality TV, which I remember watching Borneo. Seen every single episode. It was a little bit difficult at university to get every single one in, but I did. I watched my Philippines. And it seems like a hot take. I actually enjoyed the last episode. I didn't mind the change of format. Like, I was okay with an occasional 40-minute challenge. There's so much that goes on that, sometimes we're not going to understand every single thing about the vote. But you know what? I actually had fun. I'm expecting a pretty intense post-merge. Feel like there's been a lot of character development, which I'm okay with. I like that. But I want to see how it ends up. I want to see those characters tied to strategy. And I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season.
Yeah. And how did you feel about this vote, though, specifically Dwight? Since we won't get to talk about Dwight, did you feel like this was the right vote?
No.
Yes, no, maybe so. No. Oh.
I mean, so let's say Jesse and Cody were the ones driving this as a good flip to me. It just feels a little bit early for me. I do think Dwight is maybe someone who might have found his way towards that sort of final 5-6 where some of the bigger or perceived threats might be voted out. I do think maybe people thought Dwight might be a threat. We didn't get a lot of Vessi content after they took out NECA, but I kept thinking Dwight is winning these challenges. He soloed 2 of them at the end, but was it a good move? Like, it felt like one of those safe merge votes where people are just kind of agreeing and not going for one of those more visible, larger threats. And last thing on Dwight for me is I don't know that he did that much wrong. Sure, he could have played the idol he was holding, but I thought he was a solid player, and it was a big move that kind of feels like just for the sake of a big move.
Well, I didn't necessarily even consider it a big move. Because like there was no real rhyme or reason why it was him. Like, I guess they were saying that they wanted to weaken Noel. Okay, fine, but I thought it might have been a little bit too soon. Personally, I know like some people say like, is it ever too soon? You got to make your moves, take out people that are your competitors early. But I just kind of like, he wasn't really fighting with you at this point. Like, he wasn't against you. He was working with you. He was a number for you. He wanted, the success of their previous tribe together. So I just thought that I agree. I don't think that it was a great move, but I don't know if he was that big of a player personally. I don't think that anybody would have maybe given him the win because of his age as well. So I would have kept him. For sure.
Yeah, I think that's why it wasn't a big move, is because like I wasn't putting a lot of weight in him. I think it was kind of a cop out, but I think it was a really good move for one of the players. So we'll talk about that when we get to that player. Well, let's dive in here. We're going to start with Cassidy and Chantele. Can you
start with Cassidy? I'm always starting with Cassidy.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
you do. Every single episode, you start with Cassidy, but we'll change it up here. I can do it. Or Kevin, do you have thoughts on Cassidy? I will start if you, since you're new. I don't.
You go for it. I'll follow.
Okay. Great. All right. Well, Cassidy, we didn't get a ton about her in this episode. She did really well in the challenge. Her and Carla got pretty far. So I want to kind of credit her a little bit there. But I didn't see her super involved in the conversation. She was, however, on the right side of the vote. So I'm basically keeping her where I've had her up until this point, which was on the high side. But I'm just not going to change anything right now. So I'm keeping her at 4 dice for today, for this week.
Okay, I'm happy that you went first because it helps solidify what I'm not going to give her, and it won't be a 4. I'm going to give her a 3. We didn't see more of her, like it's middle of the road playing at this point. It was good that her name wasn't kind of in the mix, which it has been in past episodes. It seems like she is in a good position with Carla, and I still feel like Carla kind of is what's leading most of the charge of the votes, even post merge. And so I think that she's in a decent position, and it seems like her voice is heard with the people that she's working with. So I'm giving her a 3. I think she has room to grow to a 4 that you're giving her, or even a 5. But right now, I haven't seen her really push an agenda or have things go her way. She's just kind of in a good position, and she's not really making any waves.
Understood. Yeah. Kevin?
Let's stay Canada strong here. I'm happy.
Okay.
I'm happy we started with Cassidy. Reason is because I have her right in the middle. I have her at a 3. In my made up dice rankings, she is that middle point, and you're either above or below. Reason being, I still think she has some winner equity. She's clearly playing a role. She had this big quote a few episodes ago when they were at Coco, along the lines of, we're all playing nice, but we're going to slit each other's throats.
Look forward to that.
Yeah. I'm still looking forward to what that is and where it happens. It doesn't seem like her name is being thrown around. I'd be surprised if she's booted in the next episode or 2. And I think she's in an okay position. We just haven't seen enough to say, okay, here is where she's falling. So middle of the road for me.
Yeah. I think it was after that quote that I bumped her up to a 4. But I'm totally feeling you guys. Guess what? Audience gave her a 4.
Oh, wow. She might be a 4.
There's a Coco bump. I think a lot of people are looking Coco's way, and they're feeling good about that. Pre-merge tribe does really well, and they're kind of taking that energy into the merge. We'll see.
Yeah, so she actually, it's a high 3, but sticking here in this area.
Pretty strong for Cassidy. Okay.
For Cassidy. Yeah, it's probably the connection to Carla, honestly. That's probably what bumped me up as well. All right. Next up is Mr. Cody. Chantele, are you ready to start now?
Cody. Cody, what I like about Cody is that he's active. He's always talking to people. He's always kind of getting things going. And so I really appreciate that about him. It's kind of hard to say, like, I kind of want to give him one number, but I also want to give him another one. I want to give one in the middle. Like, I wish we had 0.5s in here because I don't think that he's
no half a dice.
No teetering in the middle.
No.
I think that I want to give Cody a 4. Now, I think it's because, like, I was thinking 3, but I do think that he's in a better position than Cassidy, so that's why I'm bumping him up to the 4. I think that people don't seem to want to be targeting him, and I thought that he would be kind of a flashy target. I thought that people would see him as being a pretty big social threat. He has that idol, and he has the awareness also that James has his knowledge is power. And so I just feel that he has a lot of information, and he does have that idol. And so I have to give them a little bit of a bump up for having some power in this game and not being on anybody's radar. Like, I think he should be on people's radar, and he's not.
Mhm.
And he seems to get all the information. He seems to know which way to vote. And so for that reason, he gets a 4 from me.
A 4. Okay, I wasn't sure if you were going 3 or 4.
No.
4 dice for Cody. Kevin.
Remember when I said that
I knew it was gonna
everyone's either above or below Cassidy?
right,
Yes.
right.
I lied. One person is on the same
Oh, okay.
as Cassidy.
Oh.
And here's why for me. I've really enjoyed watching Cody, but when I look at these new era winners, Marianne and Erica, you've really seen this trajectory where people kind of get hot towards the end of the game. And so that's the blueprint for winning this quick 26-day season, right? Cody is playing really hard. This is the second time he's turned on someone who maybe he's close to. Yeah, in that Red Vesey group, like it seemed like him and Dwight had the most sort of distance between each other. But did you see them working together in the challenge? They were unbelievable. They have great chemistry. I get the idea of turning on someone before they turn on you, but I really don't like the move for Cody here. I think it's a bit early. The tribal lines seem to be all but divided. Like things are fluid, and I worry that it's just a bit soon and people are going to start seeing him as that visual threat, because for him, I know it hasn't been in the show, but if I'm looking at him as this sort of elevator salesman, I'm saying I can't let this guy get to the end.
Yeah, I could see that point for sure. Like it's kind of like the Shan of it all. You know, we thought like, oh, Shan is winning this game, and then she was out pretty a lot sooner than I was expecting her to be from how she was edited from the beginning of the season. So if she's on a similar trajectory, and if like that's the style that they're going to be editing these winners or non-winners, I totally can see your point that he might fizzle out and just be sniped pretty soon. So I could see that.
So that was a 3, right, Kevin?
That was a 3.
Okay. Well, hold on to your hats, guys, because I want to give him a 5, but I'm not going to. Okay, calm down. But I'm very, very close. I disagree with everything you're saying. Cody, I think I'm a slightly biased. I really like Cody a lot. And so that's why I'm doing a safe 4 instead of a 5. I think he never was close with Dwight. Dwight in the very, very early stages.
That's true.
Talked about how he wanted to get Cody out. And Jesse was like, pump the brakes. And I am reading into this, but it is my theory that there is something going on with Cody and Noel. Whenever there's shots of the two of them, like
They're
not
like
talking,
leaning on each other.
they're a bit cuddle. And so I think that there's a connection that we don't have all the details to. But so when Jesse brings up Noel, Cody's best bet was to get rid of Dwight, to get it off of Noel, but to still like go with Jesse. I think Jesse and Carla are a bigger duo. And I think that, you know, Cody doesn't beat Jesse and Carla together. But for this episode, this week, this was the best move for Cody and maybe only Cody. I don't know that it's good for everybody else, but for Cody, he did so well in immunity. He almost won immunity. So I give him extra points for that.
Okay.
And then he directed this vote. I give him a lot of credit for this vote. So that's why he gets a 4 from me.
And what would it have taken for him to get the 5? Because like you're close.
No, I think he deserves a 5.
Why do you give it to him?
You can give it to him. It'll bump up Kevin's 3.
Biased. If he had actually won immunity, he would absolutely get 5. Because then it would have been like he had everything. But he didn't win immunity, and I'm worried that I do think that Jesse and Carla would outrank him if they wanted to, but they don't at this point. They're playing it safe. So that's why I'm going to settle on the 4. But guess what? The audience gave him a 5.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yes.
That's really big from the audience.
Yes.
Do they not know that the worst spot, the best spot in the immunity challenge is winning, and the worst spot
is coming second? Yeah.
They
He looks like a super threat without having the glory of and the safety of the idol.
Right, the safety. Exactly. So he's going to average out at a 4, and that makes me happy.
I mean, I think he deserves a 4 this episode. I do agree with you with that what if he was going to sacrifice somebody, like, hey, weekend Noel instead of losing Noel, like I think it definitely was better for his game to if that was the way that they were going. And it does allow him to be agreeable with Jesse, that he's not giving too much pushback, that he's able to work in an alliance with him. And so because if he was like, no, we're not doing that completely, he might have lost Jesse. So I think that he sacrificed Dwight in order to save Noel. And so I see your point here, Sarah.
And I like the point about Cody and Noel being tighter than we think. She had one confessional where she talked about that a little bit. I think when they voted out NECA, or maybe before. And that would explain why he immediately shifted to Dwight. And that was one of the sort of missing pieces of the episode.
Yeah, just inferring, but I think that's it. All right, Mr. Gabler is up next. Kevin.
Unrankable. How can you give him a number in the base 10 system? You can't give him a number. If you had to, if I had to, which I do, I would say the following. He's in a position where at the beginning of the episode, he says, hey, Gabler came out. Now I'm going back underwater. And then he proceeds to have one of the most over-the-top episodes in recent memory, where not only does he have that segment where he's shouting out every person he's ever met in his life, and some parts are beautiful. And actually, my fiance Jillian is now a Gabler fan. How can you not be? But Owen, who is either his number 1 or 2, depending on what the relationship is with Sammy, is even saying to people, this guy's unpredictable. I don't know where I can go with him. And so for that to be what the people close to you are saying, I got to give him a 2. He won immunity. He's weirdly been immune for most, if not all, of the tribals this season. It's a lot. It's a lot. But numbers don't capture what he is and what he means to the world.
I hear that.
Yeah. My soul agrees with you. But
you're giving him a 5.
Sylvia, please. We're dedicating this minute to Gabler. This one was tough. I actually gave him a 4. And I'm sure I'm going to talk myself out of this. Kevin's never coming back on this stream ever again.
I can't blame you. With him, you can't. You could do. Give him a 5+. I don't know. There's no reasonable answer here. Everything is acceptable.
He wasn't even in the talks. Like, not only was he on the wrong side of the vote, we didn't see him being included in any talks. I don't know.
Wait, who did he vote for again?
Ryan, I believe.
Oh, right. Okay.
So he might have been in.
Yeah, he did.
It's unclear. He was probably.
So he just was. He was part of that Noel plan of, like, they were splitting the two tribes to split the votes. He went along with that, but, like, who wins immunity and then isn't, like, half the time they think they're running the vote, but like it didn't even seem like he was at all. So in my heart, I agree he should have a 2, but he did win immunity. I do always add a dice for winning immunity. That's just the way I go.
Where's your next dice then?
But yeah, I don't know how we got up to 4. I honestly, why was he at a 3 last week? I added 1 dice this week, and that put him up to a 4. I don't know. Go low, Chantele, and average this out better.
Well, I wanted to give him the 2, like Kevin did, but I did also bump him up because he won immunity. But immunity didn't even matter this episode, and that was what was I found really weird about this.
I think it does. He would have gone home had he not won, right?
But like it just didn't seem to have that same pull. You know, it's like sometimes I'm like, maybe because I'm not rooting for Gabler all the time. Like I do like him in the fact that he's a little bit messy and is a little bit quirky, but like I didn't really care who won immunity for whatever reason. So maybe that's why it didn't seem to hold that much weight. But he did it. He did win immunity. He was, like, as you're saying, he was going to go home. So he saved himself. So he goes from a 2 to a 3. I do wish that he took a little bit more agency with, having this power and being safe to like put himself in a better position. But maybe he doesn't care. Like maybe he doesn't actually want to win. Like maybe he just wants to bring some, eyeballs onto the field that he's in and his family heritage and veterans and stuff like that. Like maybe that's why he's on the show, because this episode, I would have loved to see him really emerge as somebody that's like, okay, I'm going to drive this vote. I'm going to put myself in a better position. I'm going to get myself to win this game. But at this point, I just don't see people respecting him. We start off the episode with Owen kind of being like, yeah, he's a liability, loose cannon, like want to get rid of him as soon as possible. He has to know that he does that to people. And so the fact that he didn't use this power and this protection to maybe put himself in a better place, I can't give him higher than a 3, but he would have started a 2. He got a 3 because he won immunity. And that's probably as far as I am going to go for him today.
That reminds me of a small man I knew named Muzzy, which was a direct quote from him. I was writing down the things he said. I'm so fascinated.
Said this one's for Idaho. That's what he said.
I'll ask. Well, okay. The other thing is like maybe there is value in keeping somebody like that around. If you're a Sammy or an Owen and you know him well at this point, maybe there is value to keeping somebody like that who is going to act directly, who's generally going to present themselves in an honest, direct way. Hard to manage, but could be a really valuable asset.
I think we've been saying that many weeks, like drag him to the end. But if he's going to be a comp beast, if this is like showing us what we're in store for, you got to get him out now. You can't be unpredictable and a comp beast. Like,
it's true. It's true.
That's dangerous. Well, the audience gave him 3 dice, so he's actually going to average out at 3 dice. So sorry, Kevin. That's my fault. But I gotta give him credit.
I have no problem with any Gabler. It's just you can.
He's so messy.
Yeah.
All right, James is up next. How do I get to my pictures? There he is. James is up next, and I am starting us out with him. James. What is happening with James? I think he unfortunately got into the position of they used his name as a decoy target one time, and now it's just easy to throw out his name because it's already been said. He's got relationships that keep saving him. Once again, his name is written down. He is a target, but he is saved and not really in that much danger. He found that knowledge is power this week, but everyone knows about it. So on one hand, that's great. But on the other hand, it's not really going to work for him. So he is truly middle of the road for me. I am giving him 3 dice.
Understandable again. So with James, it's really like, I really like James. I think I drafted him, right? He's on my draft. Is he Owen and James I have left, I think, right? Or is that another group? I don't know.
I gotta pull that up.
I've done a few. So I feel as though he doesn't realize the position that he's actually in the game. And I'm wondering, because a lot of the audience members, like I've been seeing like people and commenting on how he acted in the tribal, being like, he's so cocky, like, oh, I don't like his attitude at tribal. And I'm wondering if that is rubbing off on people that he's playing the game with. Because like I personally, like if I was, didn't go home and I see my name up, like I would definitely be pretty obnoxious, be like, what, you thought you tried to get me? Like I would be pretty obnoxious most likely, just for the excitement of staying in the game. And so I'm just wondering though if he's rubbing some of his tribe members, tribe mates off like the wrong way to a certain extent. But I was going to give him a 2 because I do feel that he's not really recognizing that he could be the decoy vote. If I was the decoy vote, I would do my best to try to get it to be somebody else. I wouldn't be risking that. He did find the knowledge is power in front of everybody. And then he said that like, oh, we're not going to go look for it. And then he goes and looks for it and gets it. And I was like, oh, that, that's not great. Like you might as well have been transparent completely if you were going to actually go and grab it than saying like, oh, we're not going to go grab it and then go grab it. But the fact that he didn't use it and he did stay, I'm going to bump him up to a 3. because he was in the hot seat there, but he knew better that he was going to stay and that he didn't need to use that advantage. And so for that reason, I'm going to give him a 3, bump him up from a 2 to a 3.
This was an episode that required 2 watches for me to get everything, especially because the challenge was so dense. There were a lot of moving pieces. It was hard to nail down where all the votes were coming from. On first watch, I was saying, James, I'm appalled. You found the knowledge is power, and the basic rules that we armchair castaways have established is that you don't tell anyone about it. And on a second viewing, couple things to call out. 3 people saw him pull it. Whatever the reaction was at that point, like, it's difficult to tell a lie. And yeah, you could come up with something, but sometimes the truth is the easiest thing to cut through the tension that people create in those situations. He ended up getting the advantage without anybody seeing him, it seemed like, while 3 people saw him pull that. He, so far, has not ruined the advantage like others have done. In fact, Dwight left the game holding someone else's idol, and now that's out of play because of how it happened. James also did something that I really appreciate. When those votes were being read, he was celebrating. He was passionate. You could tell that he loves the game and he's here to play. And those votes coming his way, you're right. He's going to remember them. I am giving him a 4 after I was really down on him during the episode. I think he still has some real winner equity. It's going to be tough. You both mentioned some of the things going on where maybe his relationships are strained, but he's in that Carla, Cassidy sort of bubble. And I think James is still very much in the game. And also, he has a knowledge is power, and everybody knows where the powers are right now.
Or do they?
At least
all right. Now that they're shook up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, Kevin. The way that he does faces is I think he's so expressive.
Absolutely.
I don't find him cocky at all. The people who are annoyed by his face, like,
oh, there's a game for $1 million and you're celebrating when you're not
like,
voted
I'm
out?
there for
I'd be so obnoxious. Like, people will be hating me. That'd be so annoying. So yeah, no, I definitely agree though. Yeah, like, I understand that 4. I could see where you're going with it. I appreciate it.
I like his position. I'm excited about it. I just wasn't. I was watching the votes being read.
The audience gave him
a 4.
Back in my good books audience.
Ooh. 4 el 4.
Sorry, my internet is janky, so I don't know if I'm in and out, but the audience gave him a 4, so he is going to average out at a 4.
I can appreciate that. I would like to see James longer in this game, especially as, like, he, in the beginning, he talks about him being a chess player, and like, I want to see him start doing some maneuvering. So I'm excited that he made it through this vote. I think that he will have a little bit of a, fire underneath his butt, and he's going to maybe start making even some more moves. And so I want to see how his game turns out for sure. So happy he's here.
All right. Janine is up next, Chantele.
I feel really bad for Janine because this game, I think that people are outplaying her, and I don't even think people are playing that well. Like, there's obviously people playing better games than others, but it's not like, oh my God, the masterful players, like, oh, the strategy is wild. Like, they're not playing that hard, in my opinion. And I know that it was a great idea in theory to give your idol to somebody because you think that there's a potential that someone has the knowledge is power. I get that. But like, I think it would have been better to bury it at camp than it would be to give it to somebody else, and it happens to go home with the person that's voting out. So that shows me that she did not know where the votes were going. She's completely out of the loop in that regard. She gave it to somebody who she trusted, of course, but like is on the outs, and she didn't have any idea. We see her desperately trying to cup her hand to get that idol back from him, even though it would have been too late. We're learning for rules of, when you can exchange and give people idols. And so I'm going to give her, I'm sorry, Janine, I'm giving you a 1.
Ooh.
I'm giving you a 1. It was just all bad. It started up. I was hopeful for her at the beginning of the episode when she was kind of like, I'm cool. Don't worry, everybody. Like, it's probably better for my game. And people were kind of, agreeing and saying that it's going to be better for your game that you don't have like Ellie there anymore. And so I was hopeful for her. And then it just went all the way down. So yeah, I'm going to give her a 1.
Yeah. Kevin, agree, disagree?
I had a professor once who told me that grades on exams are not indicative of who you are. They're just a rating of how you did at a specific time. So let me preface that with this. In this episode, it wasn't great. It's the second time in a row being left out of the vote and having the idol go with Dwight. That said, there are a couple bright sparks here. One is that the game feels at least fluid enough that people know that Janine's on the bottom, and if they're looking to make a move, those are the kinds of people you look to work with. I do think she has at least, I think Janine has a few rounds left in her. That said, it's really tough if in the early merge, you're one of those people who's not involved in these big mega alliances that keep moving, even though it keeps changing. She really hasn't been that involved. So I worry about Janine's chance of winning it all. That said, she had a really bad performance in the challenge, which I think is a good thing. Jeff didn't pay any attention to Janine. Anyway, that said, I think it bodes well for her. I don't think people are going to target her in the next round or two. Still, for this episode, for this moment in time, like Dr. Garber said, it's one moment. I'm going to give 1 die.
Ooh, 1 moment, 1 die. 1 moment, 1 die.
Right, there's a song there.
1 moment.
Oh, wow. I gave her 2.
Okay,
I guess.
It's like a big.
I don't know. I feel like she is not doing great, but she didn't make, well, now that I say it out loud, she did make a horrible mistake. Giving her idol to the guy who was the actual target just means you are not in the loop. You are aligned with the wrong people. That is just not a good sign that he walked out with your idol. And you are just, you lost your best ally last week, and now you lost your idol. I think the upside is that she's probably not going to be the target anytime soon because she's so at the bottom. But all of this stuff just points to the fact that she's not playing a great game. But for whatever reason, I didn't feel like it was a 1. Let's talk about this immunity challenge, though. We haven't talked about that yet. Does anyone else think that net was horrible?
That was, I remember you did your recap with David and you're just like, that is my nightmare. I wouldn't really enjoy that. I don't think covered in mud and stuck in a net. Like that just seems terrible. The whole challenge itself, it would be, there would be absolutely no way that I was going to be winning that one. And I don't like quitting, but like, I probably wouldn't try my hardest here.
Well, you would have just been trapped in a net then.
I'd just be like, I'm just going to take a little rest here.
I thought it was really funny. I I
You
mean?
love the torture element of it? Like, let's torture these people.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this is a rare challenge I might be good at, because it's just a lot of this is just figuring out how to do. You're so dirty, you can't see anything. A lot of it's just figuring out how to move around in there. It's just I really enjoy. You know what, the 3 stages. Like I'm here for it.
I definitely like a challenge in stages. Eliminate people as you go. That's really, really fun. The reason that it took half the episode, though, was because it went so horribly wrong that Jeff had to try to
create a moment.
Create a moment to be like, well, teamwork. We love each other. When it's like, no, you tortured us and we're gonna band
and now
together.
You're trying to like pretend like, oh, he tells them to be like, go help your teammates out, and be like, look at that, you know, we're playing a game for $1 million and you're taking the time out to go and help this other person. Like, I'm just like, you created that moment, Jeff.
Yes.
Like,
it was very manufactured. It was very Suri on the balance beam. Like it's just, I don't know. The parts that I did enjoy. The parts that I did enjoy.
Whereas Gabler, like, rattling off all of his
Gabler,
family.
There were a lot of little character moments. So, first of all, I think it was an advantage to be paired up with someone who you were on a previous tribe with. If you look at the people who know, it was Cody and Dwight, it was Owen and Gabler, Cassidy and Carla, even Ryan and James were in the second, right? Like, okay, so Ryan's reaction to James not doing what he said really shows something. Sammy's reaction
thought it was bad,
to Noel, like, those things go a long way, just being nice in the game. So I do think, like, having those little character moments helps. It was different.
Yeah,
it was different.
Yeah. Everything was great besides the torture.
Were you guys both disappointed, though, when that they ended up painting rocks to choose their teammates? I kind of wanted to see I wanted to see them not do that.
They cut to commercials and then they didn't show the reveal.
Well, they didn't show the reveal, but I didn't want them to do rocks at all. I wanted them to be like, I want to be with this person. I want to be with, like, I want to have
I want to be with Ryan. He's the best at challenges.
Absolutely. And I want to fight for Ryan, then. That's fun.
Yeah, let's draw rocks on who gets Ryan and who gets Cody. Like, we lost out on the strategy completely because they were too
diplomatic,
wimpy. They were not brave enough. Guess what, guys? The audience gave, who are we even talking about? Janine. They gave Janine a 3.
Whoa. Okay, that makes 0 sense whatsoever. She would have gotten a 2 for me if she still had her idol, but like,
I feel like that's a lot of just feeling bad for her.
Yeah, it made me feel bad for her, and I like her.
Yeah, she got a lot of fans this episode. Like, it's endearing. You root for the underdog for sure, but at least my rankings are not based on likability.
But also, though, I'm wondering, I know that we're kind of thinking that she might be able to, you know, make it a few more rounds, but if she's kind of friends with Noel, like, she might become a casualty for the fact that, like, Jesse doesn't want to get rid of Noel, but if people think that Noel's getting too strong with having Janine there, she might be the next to go if they're trying to protect Noel. So she could still be in the hot seat in that regard.
But knowing Jesse and Cody, they're just going to vote out Noel, who they're closer with, before.
Jesus. Okay, that's true though. Track record, that's true.
So she is going to average out to 2 just for official.
After getting 2 1s, she still gets a 2. Like, wow.
Yeah, that 3. Wow. 3 bumps it up. All right, Jesse's up next, and Kevin is up.
So this is going to be not in line with what I've said about Jesse's move with Dwight so far, because I don't think it was a great move for him. Dwight, I mean, we don't know how deep this, like, island marriage actually went, but it just seems like Jesse was a lot closer to Dwight than Cody was, and Cody and Dwight would always go after each other first, right? You got to think about who's going to go, like, what are the rankings? If you're like the 4th person that somebody's going to go after, great. So having that Cody Dwight dynamic was actually really good for Jesse. So it's bad for him that they're gone. That said, plus they were on his original tribe. That said, Jesse has shown a proclivity to make decisions based on logic. He doesn't care if he's close to somebody personally, and I love to see that. He's always going to do what he feels is best for his game. And because I appreciate that, I'm actually giving Jesse a 4 today. I think he's still in a solid position. Weirdly, him and Carla are best friends all of a sudden, again, just kind of shows up. And he also, I'm a big confessional reader. He looks right in the camera and he says, legends are made or you flame out.
I did hear that, and it rang. It rang, and I'm wondering, ooh, is that a winner quote here? I wonder.
Well, he is a fire sign, and so I love a flame.
We do love a good flame
reference. I love how many dice you're doing here, Kevin. Jesse, I'm also a bit biased on. I'm keeping the 4 dice for him. I think, again, inferring because we don't have all the details yet, but this bond with Carla is beautiful. Carla has been running things, and Jesse was kind of like number 2 to Cody. But now that he's paired up with Carla, I feel like that duo is going to just sail to the end. I think that they kind of ran this vote. They kind of directed it. Yeah, Cody took it to the end, but I feel like they chose to roll with it and not fight, which is a really good way to play. I agree with you, Kevin. This might have been a horrible move for them in the long run, but relationship dynamics, I think if someone's like, hey, we should go this way, instead of throwing a big fit, if it's really not worth it in that moment, is smart. So I love him. I think he's doing great. He gets a 4 from me.
Well, I definitely love Jesse. I'm always interested in his confessionals and what he's thinking and how he wants to play this game. And so he's definitely one of my favorite players this season. And so I started off thinking okay, I think I want to give him a 3. Because I don't know for sure if this vote was in his best interest for the long run. Dwight wasn't going to ever vote against Jesse. He would have been somebody that was willing to work with him long term, I feel. And I thought it might have been too early to lose numbers for their original tribe. Yes, you might have some infighting, but why do you want to lose your numbers first when there's other tribes there that you could still kind of chip away at? And so I just felt as though it might have been too early. But you guys both reminded me of the Carla connection. And Carla, I have to bump him up to a 4 because he is aligning with the right person. He has a good relationship with the right person. And I want to see those two come together. It seems like, they're able to talk to each other and they listen to each other and they're able to come to certain decisions together in a way that it doesn't seem like either party is offended or thinks that the other person is trying to make moves or make them feel a certain type of way. So the Carla connection bumps him up to a 4 from me, even though I'm not sure if it was a great move for him to lose one of his allies. Carla connection keeps him up high.
Exactly. And the audience actually gave him 5 dice.
The audience is loving these people this episode.
Yes. They're very supportive this week. But that he still averages out at a 4. So I feel good about that.
I mean, there is an element to these cool confessionals. Didn't give it to Janine, or cool moment. Didn't give it to Janine, but she had a moment where she's like, let me be an asset. And it's like, whoa, cool. I like that stuff.
Carla is next, y'all. Queen Carla is here. Look. Queen be queen. She is. I'm so glad we got to know her pre-merge because I think she's laying low-ish right now, but we know that more is happening. Every single person who has been voted out since the merge, I believe, has been the way she has wanted to vote. Because her allies have been suggested as targets and then they are protected. So I think she is very much involved here, but not pushing too hard. She's paired up with Jesse. I think she's going all of the way. I'm not saying she's winning. I don't know, but she's in this for the long haul. She gets 4 dice from me.
Well, I'm definitely a super fan of Carla. Every single episode,
Chantele.
she. Oh, okay. I started talking, but maybe your mic's frozen. No, I don't know. Okay, well, so
Go.
I love Carla. I think Carla is definitely episode to episode to episode, she's just like growing on me as a person that I'm loving to watch. I think it's quite fascinating and amazing that she is able to run all these votes without appearing to be in any sort of power position, which is really, really impressive. And in the first couple episodes when she didn't want to take the beware advantage, and then she goes back and grabs it. I think that's where she kind of emerged as like a player in this game, and we just have been seeing her really take control and kind of gain all this power. And I just have to give her props and respect for that, for the fact that I think that she is running this game, this episode, this game, this vote. Like everybody, all roads lead to Carla, and all roads lead to you. I think you deserve 5 dice.
Yay!
Nice.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let's mention her performance in this immunity challenge was really good.
Yeah, she fell at the end, and she was very close to making
it. Frozen. Kevin, go. Your turn.
She spins very quickly through the net. Every time I see Carla in a scene, it's just clear that she's just running circles around everyone. You have to consider when you're playing this game that it's 24/7. Everything you do can be used as game. How you look, how you act, the way you react to something. And she's clearly considering that in every single movement. The example that stands out is at the merge feast. Everybody's talking about their closest allies, and Carla's just looking around at them like, what are you doing? That said, all of a sudden Sammy's close with her. All of a sudden Jesse's close with her.
Right?
She's establishing these relationships. She's making people feel like they have the power, which everybody wants to feel. And then also, not that this is canon, but there is the secret scene with Gabler where you could just tell that so she's trying to misrepresent to Gabler that she doesn't actually have. She's trying to represent to Gabler that she doesn't have the Coco idol. Okay? The way she is playing the game is incredibly intelligent. It's beautiful. Every action is towards the game, and that's why she's getting 5 dice from me. I'm a little bit doubtful about her ability to win the game because it's way too good to be true at this point, but hey, it's early. It's early merge, so.
Right.
You're lowest on Carla, Sarah. This is shocking.
I'm mad at myself. I'm mad. But I love it because the audience gave her 5, so it's no big deal. Doesn't matter. She's going to average out with 5 dice. Yes. She deserves it. Yes. Absolutely. I didn't give anyone to Carla this week. I don't know what's wrong with me. I would have liked to give her and Jesse and Cody all 5s.
So maybe you were showing some reservation, like just
I don't know. I'm being very holding back. Yes. I don't know why. All right. We all love Carla. It's official. Next is Noel, Chantele.
Noel. It's like, I do like Noel, and I want her to do well, and I think her story is amazing. I'm always like impressed and wowed by what she's capable of doing. And then she goes and tries to run a vote, and I'm like, she doesn't have the finesse to run these votes, and she is going around just telling people like, yeah, this is what I want, and everybody's like, oh, that's what Noel wants. That's what Noel wants. And you kind of don't want a vote to be talked about as like, oh, Noel wants that, when they're not really on your side, right? They're not really with you. It just kind of gives people a reason to not necessarily want to work with you if it's not exactly what they want to have happen. And so the fact that she didn't really realize that, people might not want to go along with the plan of voting out James because he has knowledge is power, it's not great. And the whole people did want to come for her, so that's also not great. Cool that she has people protecting her, so she didn't get the vote this episode, but they took out one of her strongest allies, somebody that she could trust, just to weaken her. And that's bad. So I got to give Noel a 2, even though I appreciate the sass and trying to make something happen, because we're always like, we don't want people just to sit around and do nothing. But she doesn't do it with any finesse, and how she's doing it nearly got her voted out of the game. So I'm going to give her a 2.
2. All right, Kevin.
So there were times in the game where I really thought Noel was crushing it. After Justine got voted out, she had a really good sort of rebound. And she was actually coaching Janine on that in this episode. I don't know what she can do. It's the same problem we talked about James earlier. Once your name is out there, it's really hard to get it back.
Yeah.
And Noel's name has been out there. She's almost gone home a couple of different times. I don't think it helps. It was a nice moment with everybody helping her, but I don't think it helps her game that Jeff turned into this inspirational thing. Like, again, you got to think about who you're taking towards that end game. She is good at a lot of these challenges. And then you go up to people and you directly say, I want this person out. You can't directly represent your interests. You have to, maybe that's my own like totally subjective opinion.
It has to be other people's ideas.
You gotta lead them to the water instead of telling them.
Yeah,
you got to get them to come up with ideas themselves.
Yeah,
I was just trying to say. It was interesting that in Tribal it was Noel, Dwight, and Janine all sitting on that one side. But Noel's a 2 for me.
2. Yeah. I agree. You gave her a 2, right, Chantele? Sorry. Forgot to plug it in. Yeah, so she's a 2. Look, Noel, you got a beautiful story. You seem like a lovely person. But in the beginning, when she was on her original tribe, and it seemed like her social game, like the way she was working with people didn't seem to be smooth. It seemed like something was off there. And so now when we merged, she still has that. But because everyone is like, oh, Noel, we love you. You're so inspiring. She feels like she's on top, and she feels like she has some agency to make some moves and feels comfortable sitting there and being like, it's us against them. Great. Let's go this way. Great. And then just spreading the word. And unfortunately, that's not the case. She was completely blindsided by this vote, completely blindsided that she wasn't running the vote. I feel really bad that she got stuck in that net. I hope we never see that net again. That was rough.
Kevin's like, every episode, please give us the net. Give us the net.
I love more net. Give me more net.
No.
Every challenge should be a 2-parter with the net and then the second part.
Oh my gosh. No, I feel bad giving her a 2, but she just doesn't have the game. And back to talking about how great her story is, you just never bring someone with a great story to the end. So she's not long for this world anyway. The world of Survivor, that sounds horrible. She's not going to make it to the end. And, they've got several reasons to vote her out at this point. So 2 for me, but the audience gave her a 3.
They're
Again,
so generous this episode.
Being very kind, but she's still going to average out to 2. Sorry, audience. We're Canada and California strong right now.
United.
Yes. All right. Owen is next up. And
Kevin.
Is it Kevin's turn?
I really want to do. I'm going to do it.
Do
it.
I think, look, we didn't see too much of Owen strategically in this episode. We get a lot of Owen content because I think he is a really good narrator, and that's very valuable to production, right? He's really good at concisely describing what's going on. Owen's the one who, at least at some point, knew where a lot of the advantages are. And I'm speaking from the point of view that he was part of a vote split, which is not entirely clear to me. That he knew where the votes were going and he voted out Ryan. And maybe somebody in the chat can correct me, but the fact that Sammy voted out James just indicates to me that they were aligned, that the Baca guys at least were into that vote. Anyway.
Yep.
I think Owen's in a great position. I really, really do. I think he's set up nicely where people aren't looking at him too much. He clearly knows the game really well. And you can't let this guy get to the top 5, because if you do, he will run the end game. I have no problem with this. I have no problem with this.
What?
I'm giving him all the dice. I'm very
People are giving him a 2. You're giving him a 5. Yes.
If they wake up and vote him out in the next couple rounds, it's the right thing to do, because this is a guy who will come out, who's performed well in challenges, and if you let him get to the end game, Owen's gonna take it. So nobody's looking at him as a winner. I'm sure people are out there saying this guy is, carrying the pot and had that. I don't even remember what that word he used.
Curmudgeon.
No.
Lovable curmudgeon.
It was a type of food that looked like was on his pants or something. I don't remember.
Bouillon?
Yeah, exactly. I gave it a Google.
My God. I did the feedback show with Rob, and we talked about the bouillon cubes.
Yeah.
Bouillon cubes.
That for the P. Anyways. Okay. Yeah.
I'm pro Owen, and yeah, he might get that sort of funny edit some of the time, but I think that this guy's super dangerous, and if they don't wake up and see that, like, who knows?
He was my number 1 pick. I feel vindicated.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, and by the way, you do have James on your team. Okay, Kevin. Well, I cannot align with you on this. I adore Owen. I enjoy Owen. I think he's a fun character. I'm so glad that production and the editors are having fun with him. He's great. I'm very confused on why he continues to side with Janine. I think he really wanted to make that happen with Janine and Ellie. And then Ellie left, and he was like, all right, I guess Noel is replacing Ellie. And he was on that path, because the Sammy voting the correct way and Owen not for the second tribal in a row makes me feel like he is choosing to be on the wrong side of the vote. He is like, maybe he doesn't think it's necessarily going to be the wrong side of the vote, but I feel like he has more information, and he's making this choice to vote with Janine. I'm not loving that. I don't think that that's great gameplay, although I'm entertained by him. So he is getting 2 dice from me.
Now, I'm just thinking, is it possible, and we haven't been shown, that maybe he feels akin to her and having Asian representation, stay in the game as long as possible?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he doesn't feel comfortable maybe voting her out or still wanting to work with her, but we haven't been shown that. I was kind of always thinking that as well, as like maybe they have like a bond that they're not really showing us, through these episodes. But I couldn't go as low as a 2.
Challenges. That's when they're 40 minutes of challenges. There's lots of missing.
Right? I would like a little bit more information, please.
Yeah.
I don't like speculate. I mean, I like speculating, but I would love to have more information to speculate with. A 2 is a little bit low, I would say, because as much as we're not really sure exactly with his intentions of why he's voting certain ways, I just don't feel like he's the target from anybody right now. I do feel that he was quite strong in that immunity. Like he was out third last, whatever. That's pretty close to winning it. And so it shows that he has potential to be winning some of these individual immunities moving forward. I think that if he gets some solid power, we might see a new side of Owen emerging. He hasn't had any real agency. He's kind of had to just trust people and stay in the game a little bit longer, but he hasn't really, emerged as a big power player. But I don't think he's a 2. I think he's a 3. I think he's in the middle of the road right now. I don't think he's a 5 yet. I think he has a potential to be a 5. I want him to be a 5, but I haven't seen 5 gameplay yet. That would just be speculating of the potential of him being a 5 player. So this episode, I think he's a middle of the road, and he is a 3 for me.
Okay. All right. Well, we are all over the map with this one. The audience is going to give him 4.
4. Okay. I'm fine with
audience being all friendly. So he is going to average out at a high 3. He's going to get 4 dice. Thanks to Kevin.
You know what? That's my guy, Owen. I'm also, my hope for him is that he had this moment where his thing that he was thinking about during that final moment in the challenge was putting that immunity necklace around his neck, which he's dreamed about. If that doesn't pay off and if he doesn't win an individual immunity challenge, I'm going to be devastated. I need to, before he gets voted out or whatever happens, I need to see the necklace around his neck because they set that up too well.
Yeah. There's no reason for them to give us that clip, I think, if they weren't going to allow him to win. So
I need it.
It's going to happen. I believe it.
Ryan, and I'm starting us out here. Like, he did well in the challenge, so I kind of want to keep that in mind, but I don't think I did technically keep it in mind because, you know, he was one of the targets. He got votes. We've seen that his game is just not that great. Yeah, he's, you know, yelling at people that they should have a final 7. It's a little tough to watch how not great he's doing, but he was on the right side of the vote. He did get looped in, but I guess I didn't factor much in. I gave him 2 dice. I just don't have a lot of faith.
So generous today here with Ryan. Oh. I find it hilarious that for the last, I think, 3 ratings before we do Ryan, it's like a nice big sigh. We're like,
because we want better for him, you know.
We do, but I think what he's great at these challenges, yes, but I didn't like the way that he was speaking to James about, you know, his participation and how he was doing that particular challenge. Like, yes, you want to be like, yeah, we work together, whatnot, but how he was doing it wouldn't have been like the way that would make me feel like we were working and we were in this together. So he doesn't seem to have any finesse with his other tribe mates or really finesse with his strategy or finesse. Like he's just not great. And I could easily see him going out next week. Like he could be an easy vote. I do think that because the original Coco is seemingly to be staying strong and people are not even realizing that they are staying Coco strong right now. I'm going to bump him up from the 1 that I think he deserves to a 2 because he has that Carla connection. Carla is most likely keeping him in this game for now. And the fact that he's a threat in individual immunity means that people are going to want to be voting for him. So he gets a 2.
I wonder if he's now in this sort of, like, if I was in the game, I wouldn't want to vote him out. And I would try and find a way to work with him. He's clearly like struggling strategically since Gio left. He wants to be there. Like, and I think, again, like I'm just reading between the lines, maybe Carla and maybe Cassidy and maybe James have found a way to work with Ryan. That said, the little we got from him, which was getting upset with James, like, you're not going to work together again in a challenge. Just compartmentalize it. Just throw it away if you can. Like that's
Just be like, it's okay, bro. Like we did it. We tried really hard, and like
you did great. You got past the first round. You did really well. Unfortunately, I have him at a 1, but I do think there's also a value in bringing these people towards the end. They're always like big challenge threats. They're always going to be a target. You're probably not going to Mike Holloway it all the way. And also, if you do, you might not get the votes. Like I look at a Game Changers with Culpepper, or even with 42, Jonathan didn't make it to the finals. But I don't know that these challenge threats are the jury threats that they used to be. And so I'm totally fine with keeping Ryan in the game. Unfortunately, I don't think he has a ton of winner equity.
Yeah. I mean, he is a good meat shield because he seems like you can manipulate him. Someone, maybe Carla, can do that.
Well, I think though, like my thought process with voting him out for the fact that he is an immunity threat is because I want to win immunity. And so if he's here and he's going to win immunity, like let's get rid of him so I have a better chance of winning immunity.
I don't want to win immunity.
Sometimes I would, yes. But
sometimes you need to.
I know that strategy too.
Audience is being nice, so they gave him
nice.
3 dice, but he averages out to 2 dice tonight. Come on, Ryan, do more. All right, our last one up, the child, Sammy. He's no kid, he's 22. Chantele, are you starting us?
Or is it you? Did I don't remember.
I think I just did Ryan, didn't I?
Maybe. Yes.
Yeah, it's you, Sammy.
This one's a hard one. As I said, I've been saying, like, he's really been growing on me. In the beginning, I kind of wasn't giving him a lot of credit for his gameplay when they're still split into their 3 tribes. And I think that I'm enjoying Sammy kind of emerging as a player. I'm not sure if they would give him the win yet, but I do think that people like him in the game. They like playing with him. They like talking with him. And so for that reason, and I think the way that he handled Noel in that challenge, I thought that was really, really great. It showed his character, and it showed people that, like, you know, he's not going to just do anything to win the game. It was a completely opposite reaction I had to his, whether it was true or not, with Noel, as opposed to Ryan's with James. And so for that reason, I want to give Sammy a 4. I think that he's in a pretty decent position, and I want him to stick around for a while. I don't really see him getting any votes. Like, he just doesn't even, I just don't even think people are thinking about him to get rid of him. And that says something. So yeah, 4 dice.
All right, Kevin.
I'm feeling pretty chill right now, and I'm on the fence about. I'm feeling very generous. That said, it's like you said, the way he was there for Noel, like, that's, yes, it's being a great person. Let me just go straight to the strategy. When your brain is feeling highly emotional, like I'm sure hers was, that's the perfect time for him to come over and like be nice to her, and then she'll find a way to justify, like, the logical parts of her brain will justify ways throughout the game to keep Sammy around. The fact that I don't like going back to the age, but the fact that but I know what I was like at 19, and it was not this level of mature or nice or even close. Let's be generous. Let's throw out the 5. I'm really nice. He found his way when, I'll admit, maybe Owen and Gabler are a little bit more lost than him. He found his way from a Baka that's being messed up to ingratiate himself with Carla, who's running the game. Like, something's going right for Sammy, and I think he needs to start getting his credit for what he's doing in there, because it's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, it's hard to put a finger on it. Oops, sorry. Oh no, I'm doing fine. With him, but he's so entertaining. I really enjoy him. He's getting good screen time. I don't think he has a high threat level. Everyone seems to want to work with him and get along with him. They think he's young, even though he's upping his age. I think they still think of him as like a young person. We don't really have to worry about him right now. He's just a cool guy. Let's all be friends. He's always on the right side of the vote. He has been looped in and is making the correct decisions. Agree, he handled the whole immunity thing, Noel, perfectly. He gets a 4. Yeah, whatever he's doing, which we're not seeing all of it, but it's great. Love him. And he's not even a Sagittarius, and I still love him.
He's a Libra. They're good.
Oh, okay. The audience gave him a 5. The audience is obviously digging him, so he is going to average out
5.
Out of 5, 4.
So Sammy and Carla are the 2 5s.
Yes. Wow. What's that about, guys?
I mean, I think they both deserve it for sure.
Oh, well, that's weird to put Sammy at Carla level.
No, I think that Sammy's a little bit lower. That's why I give him a 4. But
yeah,
Carla's just a killer out there. She's just gaming all the time. Like, every time she's on screen, it's great to see. I'm loving it.
Me too.
I am too. I hope we get to see, like, a decent evolution, because sometimes when people are just killing it, they get taken out, you know? So I hope that we don't just
What would you do if Jesse turns, like sees the power that Carla has, turns on her and takes her out?
No.
I know. I'm just saying, like, what if?
What did we decide? Is she a Pisces or an Aquarius? What did we decide?
Pisces.
It'd be better if she
I think it's the Jupiter energy, I mean.
Well, that's true. Okay. Sag goes with Pisces and Aquarius. So it's going to work out. It's going to be fine. They're going to run it. All right. Yeah. So our fives are Carla and Sammy, and no one had a 1 at the end of the day. We had some 2s. We had a lot of 2s. So all right. That's all right. It was a fun week. I agree with you, Kevin. This was a good episode. Whoever's complaining just likes to complain. I'm not sure. I am so excited that you are here and you came to talk Survivor with us. What now everyone knows that Chantele found out all of a sudden that you guys used to be neighbors. What has happened since? Give us the dirt. What's happening?
Chantele, did you hear someone in your building hitting a gong on a Saturday night a couple weeks ago?
I kind of just like block everything out that happens downstairs. I didn't specifically hear a gong. Was that you?
Never mind.
Wait, tell me.
I came into possession of a gong. And I brought it to my friends who live there, and we took some turns hitting the gong.
Oh my God, I might not have been home.
You were probably working. You've been at restaurants.
My best friend and her fiance opened up a pizza tavern, and so she's been out of town, and so I've been managing the restaurant for her. So I might have missed the gong show.
Good.
Yeah.
Nobody was disturbed. It was
I'm never disturbed. You guys used to throw parties every Friday and Saturday night. Like
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't really recognize anything. So I sleep through it all. Man, I missed the gong though. I would have definitely come down and said hi. I would have known that the gong was you. Next
time I come into possession of a
so the gong had to go back.
Tool. No, I still have it. It's in. I still have it. I just took it with me. I just brought it in.
Right.
Entertainment.
So the gong is with you right now. It's not still over here.
Gong will travel.
I'm gonna lose it. I'm holding the gong for someone.
Okay. Well, I'm so sad that I didn't get to hear the gong. Oh my goodness. Well, that's sad.
Next time. So to answer your question, Sarah, that's what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Perfect. Beautiful. Are we gonna get a Kevin deep dive or some sort of chat on reality realness?
Yes, of course. I mean, we haven't done anything specifically or made any specific plans, but I feel like that's in our future.
It sounds like you have some pizza, and that's an easy way to get me involved. So
I can always get a delicious pizza Wednesday through Sunday for sure.
Cool. Sounds great.
There we go. Get Kevin with pizza. Thank you again for both of you being flexible, and the chat, everybody, for working with us on a new night and time. And so good to have Kevin here on Nerdtainment for the first time. We were obviously very big fans of you and your strategy with Big Brother Canada. So fun to talk to you. And Chantele, anything we need to plug for you?
Oh my gosh. I'm like, what have I been doing? I mean, I still talk about the challenge.
Flying around the world.
True. Yeah, I went back to flying. So getting my life back, bouncing around from places to places, airport to airport has been quite wild, but I still should be able to do Wednesdays after the episode doing the challenge 38, which I'm really enjoying this season. Are you watching this season, Kevin, of the challenge?
I am watching it. It needs more Josh Martinez.
You want more Josh? More gong?
It needs more Josh.
Oh, man.
Really?
Whoa.
Really? Said only you.
Josh.
Yeah.
Josh is missing from this season.
Wow. Okay. Well, I don't know if Matthew, so your friend Matthew has been chatting with me on the Challenge 38, and I don't know if he agrees with that. So that could be kind of fun to hear.
He's wrong.
He's wrong.
Of course, he's wrong. And then on Fridays, I go live with Drew and we do like kind of a funny rankings and talk about our fantasy draft teams of the challenge as well. Finishing up with Bachelor in Paradise. So I'm pretty much always still going live a couple times a week for sure. So just subscribe and ring the bell and then you just know whenever I'm going to go live.
That's right. Kevin, where shall the people follow you, or what do you want the people to know?
I'm online at Kevin to Jacobs on Instagram, Twitter. I make the greatest cameos in the world.
Oh yes, I heard that.
They're just the best in the world. No one does them better. And that's all really. I thought of something, but obviously it wasn't that important because I can't currently remember.
Oh, you forgot it. I bet it was so important.
Probably so. Yeah.
You all just have to tweet it out, I guess.
Everyone's losing. Yeah, that's what's going on, I guess.
I'm like trying to like remember for you, but I didn't know.
Let's forget it. If I don't remember, it's not important. It's gone.
Oh well. Well, thank you everyone in the chat for joining us. You guys are always fun and getting your ratings in. And if you're joining us later, please leave a comment. Let us know who got a 1 or a 5 in your opinion, or how terribly wrong we all are. Let us know your thoughts. Oh,
you
Kevin remembered.
So very, very side note, we're at that. Very interesting, like first of all, thanks for having me. Second of all, very interesting, like what an experience coming off of Big Brother and like in character and stuff. And my sister, like I was talking to my sister for like one of the first times, and she's like, and like you're not used to, you know, any kind of coverage or anything about you out there. And my sister was like, I'm watching people dissect your star sign right now in detail, and it was you two, and at the time I was like that's a message I never thought I would read. Like somebody like looking at my. What?
Well, because you said out in the backyard with Helena and JC Lynn, your birth time. And as soon as you said that, I'm like, Sarah!
We moved so fast. I thought about bringing that up here, but I was like, you told us on the feeds, you don't care about astrology. You don't like it. So I was not going to bring it up and like make you talk about it. But yeah, we were so excited you gave us your birth time. We wish everyone would do that, but it allowed us to like dive in and dissect you, but it also allowed us to look at where things were for you currently, and 100% predicted that you were going to win off of your chart. Yep.
We did.
So
it was so exciting.
I don't believe in this stuff, but I am open to learning things.
Yeah.
And it's been interesting to listen to, and like, hey, I don't know. I don't know what forces exist out there in the world. And consider me open-minded.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question then. You don't have to say yes if you don't want to.
Right.
But a couple of weeks ago, Taylor Hale, winner of Big Brother 24, allowed us to do a deep dive into her astrology together on a live chat. So if it's something that you would be interested in, we would love to talk through what we saw, how we predicted the win, and maybe what you have coming up for you that we might be able to see in your astrology makeup.
I'm gonna let you sit with that.
You don't have to answer, you don't have to respond, and you don't have to say yes.
I'm gonna want to ask a few clarifying questions first.
Yeah.
It's very much outside of my comfort zone, but usually that's a sign that it's a good step to take. Just because I've always felt like I don't want to know the future. Like I don't want any indication of that. However, let me sit on it.
Yeah, no, sit on it. And honestly, there's nothing fortune tellery about astrology. It just will show us some auspicious, beneficial alignments, or like some super challenging alignments. And so things, you know, we had you come to us and said, should I be on this reality show? We would have looked at your and said, whoa, things are positively aligned for you. So it's not like we can sit here and tell you your future. That's not what it is. And everyone has free will anyway. So but it was fun that
I'll tell you one other thing too, though. That's really interesting. And so I'm obviously very interested in this. And we have a very similar chart. So our birthdays are just a couple days apart. We're born almost at around the same time. And so that means that our house makeup is in the same. So most of our major planets fall in the same houses. So we might have the same interests and same beliefs and like just kind of be geared towards similar interests. So I found it interesting because both of our rising signs are Cancer, and Cancer talks about home. And so I was like, oh, it's interesting that we found ourselves pretty much in the same home environment, and we have the same interest in Big Brother and stuff like that. So there's just some similarities about us being both Aquarius and around that I also
in the same home. We literally lived in the same.
Like we shared the same water.
I might have used the hot one. I'm open. I'm open to this conversation. Let me take it back. I might need a little time to get.
You can check in on the Taylor video. You can see like what the format was, and we'll also talk offline and just give you a heads up before we throw you to the fire.
Because one of the things that was interesting for me, like in the house, was that everybody was talking about it.
Astrology.
I'm a Virgo, and I was like,
there was 7 Virgos in that house, and
the house was so full of Virgos.
That's wild in itself.
And I was like, what do I? I was like, okay, I think
you're the best sign in the zodiac. Don't worry, we're Aquarius. Team Aquarius. I think I told you, but maybe you didn't remember. But my Melissa also has the same birthday as you, so that's also fun. Just a fun fact.
Denny?
It's so interesting that you are a rising Cancer and Taylor is a rising Cancer. Our last 2 winners have been rising Cancers. Isn't that fascinating?
That is interesting.
These are things we
for
find
the rising Cancer next. Wow.
Me.
Yes, right. And that's a thing we don't know unless someone gives us their time of birth. So we can only half talk about people until they give us their time, and then we go crazy.
I'm glad that came up.
I'm so glad you remember that.
It was a snowstorm.
I'm so glad you remember that. That's hilarious. Wow. Yes. Right. Oh my gosh. And thank you for telling us your birth time on the feeds.
We were so excited when you did it though. Like literally we were watching the feeds, and at the same time we messaged each other and be like, ah!
You had no idea. You're bringing us such joy. Okay. Well, yay. Thank you for joining. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm so glad that we talked about that. And we got to talk about Survivor. So thank you to everybody all around. We will see you guys the next time.
Bye.
Bye. There we go.